Yo YouTube, this is my video for Monday the 18th of November. So I've just picked up hopefully the first of many jobs today. This was a pickup that I'd booked in on Friday with a shipper that I do a reasonable amount of work for locally. And it was picking up at 7 o'clock in the morning from Wisbech, taking, in the end, it's one pallet. It was originally going to be 2 pallets, but I'll explain about that in a moment. Going to Scunthorpe, which is just about 2.25 hours away. It's 89 loaded miles for a medium wheelbase van job. And I got this job for £95, and I had to drive 24 miles this morning to get to the pickup point from my home, and that was about 40 minutes of driving because it was so early, so the traffic was quite easy this morning. So I left the house about 6:15, which was a bit of a shock to the system, I must say. It was pitch black at the time, and my aim today is to try and get a full day's work off the CX. I'm going to be in Scunthorpe at about 10:15, and we'll see what it's like around there. I'm reasonably optimistic that I can get something from the Hull area, or maybe I think Doncaster's not too far away. So I'm hoping to have a good day. My story of the pickup was there's a slight hiccup, as it were. I arrived on time at 7 o'clock and got myself to the dispatch office. There was someone there, and they said that the load wasn't ready yet. So I got myself in my van, did a bit of tidying in the van, and then waited. I did text the shipper at about 7:15 and let them know that I was waiting. And then basically bang on past, they came out with my load, and they explained to me that the load was actually 2 pallets, but only one of them isn't ready at the moment. So I did ask them how long would they be for the second one, and they said it wouldn't be ready till about midday by the time I finished packing it. So rather than holding me up, they wanted me to go with this 1 pallet now. So I've updated the shipper, I've updated CX, and I'm on my way now to Scunthorpe. One quick note before I go, I haven't yet had the, I would say, motivation or time or both. I was very tired at the weekend. I can't say I was very busy, but I was just very tired at the weekend. I haven't edited my Friday video yet, so that's something I need to do today when I get home, as well as this video. That should all happen tonight, providing I don't get too tired, although at the moment my sleep patterns are quite poor, so I'm getting tired in the early evenings and not getting tired in the late evenings, which is good for my sleep. Anyway, I'll let you know how today goes. Farewell. It's now 11:10. I'm having an okay day. I've got my second job, but let me go back to my first job. So I arrived in Scunthorpe and was offloaded by 10 o'clock. I then parked up just outside my delivery point. It's an industrial estate, and I was looking for jobs. And the first thing that I did was looked at how many drivers were active around my area, and it was busier than I expected it to be. I had Doncaster, which was reasonably close, Hull, that was quite close, and obviously Scunthorpe, where I actually was. And there were 3 drivers active in Scunthorpe itself. There was about, I'm going to guess, I don't have screenshots, so, but you can see how many there are. but there's a lot of drivers. I'm going to guess about 30 in total across the area that I was in, and only about 4 or 5 jobs came up. One was Doncaster. There's several coming from Hull. One was going to South Wales, one was going to another part of Hull, one was going to Corby, and one was going to Leeds. And so I just realised I had to go quite cheap to get a job. Oh, there was also a job going from Grantham to somewhere, Grantham to Wakefield. And although I was an hour and a quarter away, I did think, well, maybe actually I've got a better chance heading south to Grantham. Maybe there'll be less drivers in that area. But I just was a bit too far away. I did put a bid on. I put a £90 bid on that job, but I was an hour and a quarter away. So I think it would have been worth it for money, but I just don't think. I'm sure there was another driver that would have been closer to it than me. Anyway, in the end, I went cheap on the job I got, which was the Hull to Corby job. It was a car job, 115 loaded miles, and I was about 24 miles away from the pickup in Scunthorpe, and I went in at £70, and I got a call quickly about that. That comes out as about 61p a mile for a car job. Not that I find a car job it being worth paying less. I would have gone the same if it was a small van job for the price. But it was £70, and I thought it gets me moving straight away. It also gets me £70, which is not a bad amount of money to have, and it gets me to a pretty good area, hopefully, in time for a third job, which is Corby. So I've just picked up the job, which is a single small package on the seat next to me, and I'm going to be in Corby offloaded around about 2 o'clock. So that gives me time to pick up either a small job and then one last job of the day, or one biggish job if it's available, so going somewhere. So I'll be a 160 for the day once I've delivered this. It'll be 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Corby. So it's not ideal, particularly as I had an early start, but it's not a disaster. And I think I should be able to get a third job, definitely. And so I should be able to make a reasonable amount of money today and still get home reasonably early, maybe. So I feel a little bit dirty for doing this job at such a cheap price. But to be fair, with 30 drivers around me, I just didn't feel I had much choice. I could have been sitting there for an hour or two and not getting any work. So on this particular occasion, I'm just going to swallow my pride and do the job. Hello there. It has been a difficult afternoon, I must say. I am moving again. I'm going to tell you quickly about my drop-off in Corby, which went okay. So I was carrying, if you remember, one small item. I arrived on site. I found the dispatch office. There was no one there. There's another guy that walked past, so I got him to help me. He knew the guy that was going to. I had tried to call the guy, but the number was just unattainable. So I did try that before I arrived. He took the pass off me, signed for it, took a quick photo, and then I was off site by about 1:40. So that has all gone very well, and I'd even got there ahead of what I thought I was going to do. So I thought I was going to be off there by about 2 o'clock. And so I parked outside the factory gates on a sort of road that was very empty, and I looked for jobs, and I looked for the drivers around me, just checked what was around me, and there wasn't a lot of drivers in Corby. There was a few in Kettering, a few in Leicester, a few more in Leicester, a few more in Northampton, but I thought I had a reasonably good chance of getting a job, and I wasn't going to bid too high. So initially, the jobs that came up weren't particularly great, although I did bid on them. They were sort of going from Leicester to Leicester, for example, or from Leicester to London. And Leicester was like an hour away. Loughborough was an hour and 5 minutes away. I couldn't really bid on those. At least initially, I didn't bid on those. There was not a lot from Corby. There was 1 or 2 jobs from Corby itself. There was quite a lot of jobs from Northampton. That was the main source of work. Northampton was 45 minutes away. And in particular, there was a job going from Huntingdon to Peterborough, and it was in the time that I was waiting, which was about an hour and a half. It was reposted 11 times with the note pays £35, and it also, on some of the postings, wants you to download their app, and on other postings it didn't mention the app at all. And I just felt, if you're going to post a job 11 times in an hour and a half, surely you're realising there's no driver prepared to do it at that price. But like we all say, somebody will do it eventually. Somebody will take it for that price. I even looked at doing it because that would basically be almost my route home. But even at £35 taking me home, it wasn't worth it for me. I'd rather not do that job, just dead mile at home for where I was. I was an hour from home. That would have made it a 2-hour journey home for extra £35. Just wouldn't have been worth it in my mind. Just the principle as much as anything else. I've been on quite a lot of stuff, and I was sort of trying to work out if there's even a job I bid on, would you believe, going from Northampton to Yeovil, and I worked it out. I'd be home for about 11 o'clock, and I'd make about, in total, about £250, £260 for the day. And I thought that might be worth it actually, but I didn't get that job. There's a job going to Farnborough, a job going to near a place near or on the Kent coast. I bid on. Didn't get any of these, and then an almost perfect job came up for me, which was picking up from Kettering, which is 15 minutes away from where I was, dropping off in Lincoln. There's a long wheelbase van job. To be fair, that is a perfect job for me. So I put on a bid initially of £80, and I looked at it carefully and thought, what was the absolute minimum I would do that job for? It's going to add on about 3 hours to my day, and I put a rebid on at 3:15 of £75, and I thought that was a really fair price. That's £1 and 8.5 pence per mile, which I think is really good value. It was picking up from 3:30 to 4:30, I think it was. It might have been 3 till 4. And as I said, I was only 17 minutes away from the pickup. But it was with a shipper that I don't particularly like to work for. But in this case, I would do this job because it's useful for me to do it. I didn't get a call, and all the other jobs I bid on came and went, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and then finally at 3:34, so 20 minutes after I'd bid a really fair price, I got a call offering me the job. So I must have finally hit rock bottom with prices for where I was. There were other van drivers in Kettering that could have taken the job that were closer to me, who were long wheelbase van drivers. So it might just be that £75 was enough. I don't think it was down to my feedback. I'm guessing I was probably the cheapest, and it is actually quite a handy job for me to get home. So I'm going to end up getting home quite early for me, and I'm going to make a reasonable amount of money. Not good, but it's going to be reasonable. So I have to be grateful for that. I'll let you know how it goes in my next video. I might try doing a video and then do what's the word I'm trying to think of, just do a video of me driving on the way to Lincoln, and then just do a voiceover when I get home, because it'll be way too dark to do a video when I arrive at Lincoln. But I'm pleased to have got this job. It's frustrating that I had to wait for an hour and no, it's actually 2 hours. 2 hours, wasn't it? From dropping off at 1:40 to picking it up at 3:34. That was 2 hours I was sitting around looking for a job. It is so difficult at the moment to work off the CX, and I don't think it's going to get any better in the short term. But I've got to keep plugging away, keep trying my best, and we'll see what happens as we move on. So I'm 10 minutes from the pickup. I'll do a last video at the end of the day with my stats. Cheers. Hello there. So this is my final video for Monday evening, and full disclosure, you find me at the moment sitting at my desk talking to my microphone with stock footage that I've recorded on the screen showing me driving around a road on England. And this is my stats for Monday, the 18th of November. So for this day, I'm basing my fuel costs on an average fuel price of 13.65 pence per mile. I drove a total of 390 miles, 390, and I worked a total of 13.25 hours. Of that, 2 of those hours was just sitting around trying to find a job between 1:30 and 3:30. I earned from 3 CX jobs gross £235. That was the £90 from Wisbech to Scunthorpe, the £70 from Hull to Corby, and £75 from Kettering to Lincoln. And then it was an hour drive home at the end of the day. I spent £53.24 on fuel, which meant that if I also take into account the 2 Humber Bridge tolls, which came to a total of £3 for 2 trips, so £1.50 each way, my net earnings for the day was £179, 179. I was contemplating not using the Humber Bridge on the way back, but it's just not worth, for £1.50 each time you cross the bridge, it's not worth taking the extra mileage and the extra time to go around. So I'm glad that I did do that. And just to finish off this video, 179 is not a disaster. It's not quite what I want to earn, but it feels like that's about as well as I could have done on this day. So, thank you very much for listening to my video. You'll probably find that this audio is a lot crisper and cleaner and clearer than the audio in the van, but I'm just not sure I can bring myself to record audio every evening for my videos. So I'll leave it as I do it at the moment, recording video and audio as I drive around during the day. I hope that you are all being successful, no matter how you choose to find that word for yourselves. And I shall next speak to you on Wednesday. Farewell, friends.